Yo, what is going on, guys? This is your boy TrevCL, and I am here for week 1 of the TBU. This week we are taking on Slyro and his Pittsburgh Pyroar. Now, Sly is actually our only loss in the TBU. We are currently 4-1 in our TBU career, which dated back the last 5 games of last season. So he was our first game in the TBU, and we kind of got destroyed. He caught us off guard with a bulk up Kamala, sub bulk up Kamala, and yeah, that did quite a number to our team. Really was not kind of him to all. So we're looking for revenge, looking to avenge our only TBU loss in our career so far. I don't have a team builder for this. I'm not sure if I'll do team builders in the future. I might do a separate team builder video for each TBU upload in the future, but this week I just didn't have time. So I'll just quickly go over my team, and then also my full team will be in the description below. So if you want to check that out, you can too. Make sure to also check out Sly. As you know, he's a cool dude and stuff. Anyone who uploads Pokemon is cool in my book. And also make sure you leave a like if you are hyped for TBU. But going into the team real quick, we have a mixed defense, speedy, sub roost toxic earth power Kyurem. We have a subs 3 attacks Circuitry with quite a bit of physical bulk. We have a Spadef Gourgeist, a Life Orb, 2 attack Roost, Heal Bell, Togekiss without Serene Grace. It's actually super lucky because I'm running I'm running Dazzling Gleam and Fire Blast as my 2 moves. We have a Fizdef Registeel with which is our rocker, and then we've got Spike's Scolipede with no attacks actually. So we gotta hope that Scolipede doesn't end up being our last mon, or else that would be very bad. But as you can see, he brought a team of Volcanion, the what is that thing called? I'll remember it. Serena, Mega Mawile, and yes, that is a Mega Mawile. Cryogonal, Toxicroak, and Vaporeon. So looking at the team he brought, the Kyurem spread I brought can potentially 6-0 him if 1, he's not toxic on Cryogonal, 2, he's not Roar or Heal Bell on Vaporeon, and 3, if I can weaken the Mega Mawile, if it's like a Spadef Mega Mawile, and the get like a couple rock switch-ins on Volcanion. If I can do those things, then the Kyurem can do a ton of work. So you know, looking at how much work Kyurem can put in, I'm actually going to lead off with the Kyurem. So let's get right into the battle. So I am challenged by Pokemon trainer Slyro. So I'm going to lead off with my Kyurem, as he actually leads off with his Volcanion. And this Volcanion is actually the biggest threat to my team, as I don't have anything on my team outside of really this Kyurem that can take it on. And even then, I don't really want to eat a Focus Blast. So I'm actually going to go for a sub right here just to scout what he wants to go for. He actually reveals to have the Focus Blast. So at this point, I didn't know if he was Specs. If he was Specs, I would die to a Focus Blast. If he was non-Specs, I could live a Focus Blast. So I decided to go for another sub just to scout to see what he's going to go for. And he actually decides to go for a Flamethrower, which reveals that he is not Specs or Choice in any way, which is really nice, which means a Focus Blast should do around 60, high 60%, something like that, low 70s. Which means I could potentially wear this thing down quite a bit if I wanted to go for Toxic. But looking at it, because I decided to scout for what kind of Volcanion this was the first 2 turns. I was not able to get off a Toxic on it, which means I am going to have to make kind of a ballsy switch into my Circuitry. I know since he doesn't have Fire Blast, I know I should be able to take a Flamethrower, and unless he went for a Steam Eruption there, then I should be able to take any hit. So right here, I'm just going to fire off a Thunderbolt. I am modest, but I only have about 44 special attack EVs, so this Thunderbolt's not going to do too much. as it turns out to be a leftover Serena, which Scarf Serena was another Kyurem check I was possibly worried about. So nice to see it not have the Scarfed. So right here I'm going to go fire off a Signal Beam, which is a 2-hit KO after the Thunderbolt damage. As he fires off a Toxic, I guess predicting me to switch out. And right here I'm going to make kind of a decent prediction. I'm going to actually nail his Mega Mawile with T-Bolt. Now, the reason why I made that play is just because I felt like he wasn't going to stay in. Just because his Serena was too important, as it could take on like my Registeel. It could, if it had high jump kick. It could also, if I decided to save the circuitry, he didn't have any other electric resist, so it could take a hit from my circuitry as well. If he needed to switch into electric type. So I just felt like I felt like he was gonna preserve the Serena, which he did. So he's able to kill off my circuitry with a Sucker Punch, and so I'm gonna go into Registeel here. After the circuitry dies, get my rocks, and right here again I have no switch-ins to this Volcanion, so I'm just gonna choose to take a Flamethrower with my Registeel, which I know I can, because Registeel, even though this has like no Spadef investment, base 150 Spadef is a massive stat, so Registeel is built to take on. So I fire off a T-Wave to slow it down, and now I'm gonna fire off the Earthquake to do decent damage, which I actually pop his Shuka, so it does about maybe 20%, probably not even that. But I do pop the Shuka and I still get decent damage off, and if I can make him switch into rocks, then he'll be in range of Earth Power, which is really nice. So right here, I'm going to go into my Scolipede, which you might find is a weird play, but what I'm trying to do is I'm actually trying to pass speed into Kyurem, potentially. So I actually do get the Para. So right here, I actually go for a Spike. I was debating between Baton Pass and Spike. I felt like Spike was just better just to get a Spike, because getting more damage on his team is really nice for Kyurem, as he actually reveals the Roar, so the Spike turned out to be a much better play. So right here I go into Kyurem, and he's still not in range of Earth Power. I need him to get a little bit more chip damage, so if I can keep the hazards up and he can switch into them one more time, again he will be in range of Earth Power. So I go into my Togekiss. So obviously he doesn't know I'm walled by this Volcanion, but he's thinking that I'm going to go for an Air Slash to try and flinch, so he's going to go into his Vaporeon, as I actually make, I mean, both Dazzling Gleam and Fire Blast wouldn't have done much to the Volcanion, but I do go for the one that would have done much less damage to the Volcanion, just because on the off chance he sends in his Cryogonal on an aggressive play to try and spin away my hazards. I felt that was my best play. I go for the Dazzling Gleam here. If I actually would have gone for the Dazzling Gleam straight away, I might have been able to 2-hit KO this with my Life Orb Dazzling Gleam. So a little bit unfortunate, but not the worst thing in the world. I thought a little bit about this play because he could go in the Mega Mawile, but I figured he needed this thing really healthy for my Togekiss and my Kyurem. So I felt like his play was to preserve. So right here I have a couple options with my Kyurem. I can either go for the sub, or I can go straight for the Toxic. Looking back at it, I should have gone straight for the sub, but I decided to go for the Toxic just in case he wants to go straight into like the Cryogonal, or if he wanted to stay in and try to Toxic me and I could always Heal Bell it off. Again, sub was just the better play 9 out of 10 times, so a little bit of misplay there, but not the biggest deal in the world because I can still finish off this Volcanion with an Earth Power, and first kill of the season goes to Kyurem. So right now we are down 5-4, but this Kyurem set is looking really good right now. So right here he's going to go into his Cryogonal, and I'm just going to set up a sub, I believe. Maybe I should have gone straight for the Toxic again. Kind of maybe not my best play, but I think this one hurt me less than the Toxicing right away on the Vaporeon. So I am able to get a sub up here, so I'm going to go straight for the Toxic, and he's actually going to switch out, make a pretty aggressive play into his Toxicroak. But I guess it worked out because, you know, he knew I had Toxic, so my best play there was the Toxic. And obviously my Earth Power wouldn't do very much to the Cryogonal. Even with the Terravolt letting me actually hit it, it wouldn't do more than like, you know, 30% if it was like offensive. So right here he goes for the fake out. I think he just either misclicked or forgot about mechanics, and I'm able to get about 75% off on the Toxicroak, which is really nice damage. As right here I'm just going to fire off another Earth Power, and that's going to do negligible damage to the Cryogonal. But right here, if he wants, he can make another switch into the Toxicroak, but I don't think he will. So again, my best play here is to is the Toxic, and he does reveal the Flash Cannon, meaning that depending on how much invested he is, he can break my sub. If he, depending on his investment, he might not have been able to break it with like Ice Beam, or if he was maybe packing like Freeze Dry for one of my, I believe I have a water type on my team, like my Blastoise. I totally have another water type I'm forgetting about. But yeah, he might have had Freeze Dry. But if he was Freeze Dry, then he couldn't break my sub. Even Ice Beam, I don't think. Looking at that Flash Cannon damage, I don't even think Ice Beam would have broken my sub. So yeah, him having Flash Cannon pays huge dividends. But at the same time, his Flash Cannon is still only doing about 35% to my Kyurem. So my Kyurem is still really good to just eat up hits, as he's going to go straight into this arena. I go for a Roost here, as it is my best play. Keeping my Kyurem healthy is what I need to do to finish off this game. So yep, I get my lefties back. He gets his lefties back. I'm going to go for the Toxic here. I'm expecting him to either have High Jump Kick or Play Rough to touch my Kyurem. Otherwise, you know, Serena can't really touch a sub Kyurem. So I'm expecting probably High Jump Kick because it hits both my Registeel and my my Kyurem. He actually misses the HK, which is really unfortunate in a couple ways. One, he doesn't get to break my sub, and two, he was just at low enough HP to where he died straight away. So that is a lack of a kill for any Pokemon, which is always a sad day when you miss out on a kill. In NPL that would have been counted as a kill, but NPL is one of the few leagues that does all deaths result in kills. So, you know, I respect all other leagues like decisions with kills. I don't particularly care for one. I just like kills, so that's why I like the NPLs much. But you know, TBU also has a really good kill system. So, yep. So right here, it's just kind of a stall game, honestly. My Kyurem is just rotating between subbing, roosting, and earth powering for chip damage. So he can still possibly wear down my Kyurem enough if he gets Flash Cannon defense drops. But even then, if he gets a Flash Cannon defense drop, what I can do is sack off one of my Pokemon, which is really good because having 3 sacks, basically 3 sacks for Kyurem is like pretty good, because basically this team was built around making sure Kyurem can have a fun time. So I have some strong special attackers like Circuitry and Life Orb Kiss, and then I have Hazard Stack with Spikes and Rocks, as well as you know, Gourgeist was the Thundy check. He didn't bring Thundy, which actually was really good because while I did have Toxic to touch the Thundy, obviously that would take a little bit to wear down, and Kyurem really couldn't outstall a Thundy unless he missed a ton of Focus Blasts. And Registeel was Rocky Helmet and was there for the Mega Mawile. As long as he didn't have a fire or fighting move, then he could not touch me. And he actually, after the game, he actually turned out to be Pain Split, Dual Stab, and then Sucker Punch, which was kind of an interesting choice because that means he didn't have Rock Senses on his entire team. And being that my team is a little Rocks weak, at least at the top with Scolipede, Kyurem, and Togekiss, a little bit interesting that the lack of rocks were decided to be brought, especially when he doesn't even have a defogger on his team. So I kind of questioned that, but I don't think it really mattered. Rocks would have helped him this game, but I don't think they it's hard to say. Maybe if he had brought rocks, but at the same time, he really never got, if Mega Mawile would have been his rocker, he never really got a true opportunity to set up a Stealth Rocks with his Mega Mawile, as it took the T-Bolt and then killed my Circuitry. As right there you see, it was, I guess, a 50-50 with the Sucker Punch. Not really, because I was clicking Earth Power 100% of the time, because even a crit Sucker Punch wouldn't even come close to killing me. And right here, he reveals the Bullet Punch on Toxicroak, which actually does, I believe, 42 damage. So, you might think that the Fake Out play earlier might have cost him a lot of momentum, but even then, he doesn't know my speed on my Kyurem. If he was a Jolly Toxicroak, which I believe he was, it was actually enough to outspeed my Kyurem. But the Bullet Punch play, if he had Bullet Punch instead of Fake Out, that would have actually not mattered at all, because Bullet Punch couldn't even break my sub, which is kind of crazy. This is, it's a bulky Kyurem, but as you can see from its HP stat, it has no HP investment, and I believe it doesn't even have 200 defense EVs. Kyurem is just a stupid, fat, bulky Pokemon. I love Kyurem Block so much. This is definitely one of my favorite Pokemon in Draft League format, so yeah, it's wonderful. It's a wonderful Pokemon. I know I haven't been talking as much about the game, but that's because the game has just been the Kyurem Black show pretty much ever since I was down 6-4, and then Sen and Kyurem, the game basically has been Kyurem Black sitting here subbing, Toxicking, Roosting, Earth Powering. And right here, there's no need for me to go for any other move other than Earth Power, as I just need to wear down this Kyurem, this Vaporeon. He turned out not to have Heal Bell. I can't remember. We sent each other the teams. I can't remember what his moveset ended up being, but I would assume it was probably Scald, Wish Protect, and maybe Ice Beam, maybe Haze. Not too sure. I'll have to look back afterwards and see, just for curiosity's sake, what his last move was on this Vaporeon. But yeah, this Vaporeon is about to die to Toxic, and that is a 4-0 win for your Houston Toxapexans in week 1 of the TBU. So TBU week 1 definitely went a lot better than either week 1 in the NPL or UBC, so that's good. Although I will have to say, I love my TBU team a lot more than my UBC team, and probably a little bit more than my NPL team, although my NPL team is quickly growing on me after building for a couple weeks in advance right now, and looking at future matchups. I'm really liking my NPL team too. But yep, that is a 4-0 win, so a little bit of revenge. Salai beat us 4-0 last season with a sub Komala, and this season I beat him 4-0 with a sub Kyurem. So a bit of revenge, which kind of feels good. So Sly didn't bring a bad team. In fact, he brought a really good team. It would have, if I was just a normal offensive Kyurem, he definitely would have won the game, because even Roost Kyurem, even if I was just Roost 3 attacks, it couldn't have broken down his team unless I was mixed, and even then I would be really stretched for moves, I feel. Maybe Roost, Ice Beam, Fusion Bolt, Earth Power, but I don't know. I just felt like this bulky Kyurem set was the best set against his team, and obviously it showed it. Got 5 out of 5 possible kills. Obviously the HJKMS meant that only 5 kills were possible. Bit unfortunate, as I think if it had been 10 HP higher, then it would have died to Toxic, and then Kyurem would have gotten a 6th kill. But yeah, so yeah, not much more to say. Next week we play Redithin, our good friend. He's got a pretty spooky team himself, and yeah, but hopefully we can move on to 2-0, as the goal is to hopefully win at least 6 out of the 8 games. If not, maybe go 7-1 or undefeated. So, always got to set the goals high. And with this team, and I think, I don't know, TBU, something is just different about TBU than with the other leagues. I just feel a lot more confident. Maybe it's because it's Wi-Fi, and I do love Wi-Fi. Maybe I just feel a lot more confident on Wi-Fi. But yeah, definitely a good game. It was a 4-0, but it was a lot closer than the score indicated, as Scolipede had no attacks, Togekiss had taken 2 Life Orb hits, and Gourgeist really couldn't touch the Mega Mawile or the Vaporeon. So a lot closer than the score indicated. Kieran Black saves the day, and I believe Kieran Black is actually the MVP through week 1. So another goal is to get Kieran Black the MVP if possible. But yeah, I've rambled on long enough. I want to thank you guys for watching. Make sure you hit that like button again if you did enjoy. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, as we've got NPL, TBU, UBC, even GPC is coming up. PMC, Orange League playoffs. I know I still haven't uploaded the last 3 weeks. I'll get to that eventually, as well as round 1 of playoffs. As spoilers, we did make playoffs in there. I mean, not too hard to tell, considering I was 5-2 with 3 weeks left to go. But hopefully I can upload those last 3 weeks and get you guys updated on PMC Orange League, and yeah, and maybe a couple other uploads where I have also another couple non-upload leagues, so I might upload just a recap of one of those seasons, maybe both of those seasons after those seasons are finished with. So yeah, but again, I've rambled on enough. This has been your boy TrevCL, and I am signing out. Peace, guys.